Hi, and welcome to this video on the octaves of the moon for the lunar eclipse in Pisces. When I talk about the octaves, I'm talking about the frequency of energy that we are tuning into at any given moment, whether it's an old octave or an old frequency or a new one, okay? And I'm going to do things a little bit differently in this one. So if you want to get a pen and paper, I'm going to walk through all the different experiences that this moon's going to bring us into if needed. And I'm going to give you ways of shifting out of that energy if it's an old or lower octave that's uncomfortable. Because anyways, I'll get into that. If you're new here, my name's Candace. I'm a psychic intuitive, and I carry healing and activation codes as a conduit for source energy. And if you're not new here, welcome back. I'm going about things in a little different way because I realized that it's not actually our fault that we're getting dragged into the lower octaves. There's a lot of mental interference in this timeline and reality, and I just want to share what I'm channeling. So if it helps you in some way, shift out of the riptide, shift parallel, into a space where your body and your mind and your heart and your emotions and everything are at ease, because that's truly what we deserve to experience. So in the old octave, we have mind games of doubt. The mental energetic interference will have you believing you can save it all and solve it all with your mind. Like, all you need is one epiphany and it will come together, but the epiphany doesn't come, or it has no resonance, leaving you in doubt. It's almost like having these things like come in, but they don't really fully anchor or come into fruition. So you might be dragged into the old octave if you experience these things. And this is where I'm going to give you the experience and what you can do to shift out of that experience if it is not serving you in some way. The uncontrollable urge to figure it out or find information that will help you trust. Try to remember that you don't need to know everything in order to trust yourself. Okay. The mental interference is going to continue to try to penetrate and play off of your old wounds as if you've never healed them. We're not here for that, kids. All right. So if you feel a deep lack of faith or hope, you may need to express this or your feelings and just let it move out of your peripheral. You don't have to attach yourself to it. There's no story here. Okay. You just get to express it and acknowledge it. If you can't stop thinking about past failures as if they are proof to doubt, bring your mind to the present moment, because no failures exist here. And when you're level enough, reflect on your past failures and witness them as growth. Like I talked about this in the frequency of the moon video. If you feel embarrassed, if you feel cringy, if something in your past, it's because you no longer resonate with it, because you've grown from it. There's proof. If you're feeling uncomfortable with your past failures, it's because you've grown from them. You no longer resonate with that version of yourself or that experience. It's proof to actually trust yourself. If you're stuck in the no-win cycle, let go of the need to figure anything out. Let it drift out. Just let go. Let go of the need to figure anything out, because that no-win is a response to the concept that you don't have all the information. You keep looking at the same pockets of information and it just makes you feel like there's nowhere to go with it. Just let it go if you can. Let it drift out of the cycle, basically. If you can't, oh my goodness. If you find that you can't stay present, sorry, the dog next door has got some issues. Remember that you can't change the past and the future doesn't exist yet. Do something you like in this moment. Just play. Let go of the responsibility that you had in the past, the responsibility you think you have in the future. Just kind of be in the moment and do something you like. It doesn't matter what it is. Don't judge yourself. Whatever it is that keeps you present, lean in. If you need answers to come from outside of you because you feel you can't trust your knowing, remember that some answers need time to reveal themselves. Okay? Meet your current needs with what you can. If we're seeking something, if we need something to happen, it's because some of our needs aren't being met. So focus on what you need in this moment and allow things to reveal themselves in time. Your knowing will be affirmed in some way, okay? If you find yourself looking for someone or something to blame, Remember that we are all innocent, and it's not your job to hold the judgment of others. It's not your job to worry about that. And it's not even your job to blame yourself. Like, it's an awareness of innocence. But when we're looking for blame, it's going to create a lot of doubt and division. Okay. If you have a deep fear of being wrong, remember that we learn and expand the most when we are wrong. Sometimes it's a part of the process of learning, but it doesn't detract from your value. Being right doesn't make you more valuable. Okay, it just means in this moment you might understand fully what's experienced. But if you're wrong, it's just because there's more to learn. It has nothing to do with the value that you hold. Now we're going to go to the bridge. Okay, so the bridge energy to me is like the fourth dimensional bridge. People kind of get stuck here a little bit because they have a foot in the old octave and a foot in the new octave, and they kind of don't know what to do with either. It's like cerebrally they understand, or you understand the information, but it hasn't integrated in a way that would actually change your behavior. I recognize this in myself all the time. Again, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong. However, if you're here, I'm going to give you some things that'll help you shift out of that and help you integrate to change the behavior, so the information you know is actually utilized and not just knowledge. So if you're wanting to surrender, but you're still looking for answers, remember that surrender isn't giving up. It's just letting the answers find you. You might be so conditioned that you have to seek everything out that it's hard for you to just let things come to you. That's just an awareness. So how do you change the behavior with that? How do you change the behavior with what you know to be true? Because you know that it's important to surrender. This will help with that. Okay, so if you're unaware of the doubt that you're projecting out of fear, because out of where you're doing the need to be devil's advocate, if you will. Okay. Remember that we don't always need to consider all views. We just need to consider resonance. So there might be a conditioned part of you that is telling you that you need to consider all options, but not all options are going to be resonant with you. So why would you give your energy to things that don't resonate? That's some rule or some belief or some law that somebody else created. You don't have to lean into that. If you are bypassing due to doubting yourself, remember that your keen awareness, even if doubt speaks to consciousness, you are not unconscious. Okay, so this is an interesting one because sometimes, like, I went through this phase with this cycle of energy where it was almost made me a little bit sick to my stomach to feel into that about myself and how much I was doubting myself or how much I struggled to trust myself. So I had to remember that regardless of what's transpiring, I was conscious through this whole process. I'm not unconscious. I'm not ignorant. This is something that I'm very much aware of, and that kind of sometimes will help shift things, okay? If you're in division or in an us versus them mentality because you feel you need that to save others, okay? Remember that we all have a place and purpose in this life, and we are only separated by attachment to fear. You may go into that space because conditionally you've been made responsible and you feel that you need to go about things in a way that brings this in awareness to other people. But some people just have certain roles. They would never be aware of that. So feeling into why you need to do that and remembering that it's fear that's bringing this out, you can shift that behavior. If you're wanting to save others from themselves, remember that we are not responsible and we have no idea what people signed up for. I remember when I first started working with the Divine, Twin Flame Collective, and there's a lot of people who aren't actually twin flames, and it's fine. They're just as worthy of divine love as twin flames. It's just a different journey. And a lot of them were trauma bonds. And it was not my place to judge them for their choices or their experiences. It was not my place to go into fear about that. It was my place to hold light for them and hold space for them so they could have the confidence and courage to do whatever it is they need. They signed up for this relationship. It was not for me to judge it. You know what I mean? Okay. Now, if you, knowing the truth, but still operate from doubt, okay? If you know the truth, but you're still operating from doubt, question the doubt instead of your truth. Start questioning the doubt. That's going to shift you out. If you're caught up in the doubt the interference creates, Take the time to assess how thoughts, beliefs, and experiences are making your body feel. Your body will bring you right back into understanding. I mean, like there's going to create a correlation between what you're giving your energy to, thought-wise, feeling-wise, and how it makes your body feel. Are you giving your attention to things that make your body feel bad? Okay. If you're offering solutions you yourself have not done, if you're offering solutions that you yourself haven't integrated, this is a good time to pause out of consideration. Has this knowledge changed how you operate? If not, give it time. Allow yourself to go through that process. That's going to shift you out. We go through this thing, we're like, oh, this sounds great. This really resonates mentally. But we don't really come full circle and be like, how did it actually affect me physically and behaviorally? If you're unable to change your behavior with knowledge, remember that information needs time to integrate, and it will be so important to let it in. Observe how this knowledge that you're learning is actually changing your life. Okay. If you're unable to release guilt and shame, because the mental interference loves to dig into guilt and shame and keep people in this weird divided space within themselves, remember your innocence and meet yourself with love and acceptance that you deserve. Okay. Because we are all innocent. All right. Now, the new octave. So you know that you're experiencing the new octave because you're embodying what you know through the change in your behavior, but you're actually understanding. You're actually understanding in a way that maybe you can't even articulate. That's when you know you're tuning into the new octave or the higher octave of this frequency. So questioning the doubt instead of yourself, your guidance and circumstances. You're questioning your belief systems with an air of innocence. So you're not judging yourself or condemning yourself for what you did believe or still believe. You're actually looking at it from a more curious lens because there's an innocence in that. You're allowing yourself to acknowledge and accept your doubts so that you can utilize them properly. Okay, I am doubting this, but why am I doubting this? Where is this really coming from? Then choosing to go about life differently because of this, okay? So, questioning your inner dialogue to recognize friend or foe. Are you conditioned? Are your conditioned thoughts aligned with the truth? Then actually choosing to go about life differently, knowing this, knowing that your conditioned thoughts are not aligned. You're no longer going to live in those truths because maybe it was true for you 5 years ago. And maybe it did you good then, but it's not doing you good now. You know what I mean? Okay, so carving out time to listen to your body and give it what it needs. Trusting your resonance, even when it doesn't make sense logically. Trusting information will come to support it. Letting go so you can be carried. This is kind of a divine intervention. Opening to divine intervention, knowing that it is always going to take you where you need to go. Experiencing shame, guilt, embarrassment, and choosing to allow the feeling without losing love and respect for yourself. That's how you know you're experiencing the newer octave. So I hope that this helps, and I hope you remember that you're innocent and you're worthy of love and acceptance. And the whole process of this, the energy of this moon, is to create a sense of self that is so confident that you allow yourself to exist in a world with things and people that are not of your resonance or not of your path. There's no fear in that space. There's only the ability to open and allow and be fluid. So I hope that this helps, and I'm sending you all so much love, and take care.